All right, everyone, welcome back to Fireside Fridays. My name is Mr. Rudloff. With me today I have...
My name is Adan Ramirez.
Sebastian Cruz.
This week we have been talking about obesity in America. And so, with that being said, we're going to get in our first topic today, which discusses why fast food is so addicting. That being said, we spent this week looking at different McDonald's meals, things like that, counting calories, and all those things. And so it's been really interesting to kind of see the fast food options that we have available in Columbus, Nebraska, and looking at, the health options and things of that nature. So with that being said, the question of the day, why is fast food so addicting? What do you guys think?
It's like the salt and the sugar and the preservatives, because like when you eat it, it sends dopamine to your brain and it makes you think like you want to eat more. And so it's like when you eat it, it like melts in your mouth. It like doesn't fill you up as much, so you want to get more.
How much of like this comfort food agenda, I guess I would say, this comfort food ideology, do you think contributes to obesity in America?
I would say a lot.
Yeah.
Especially like when you watch like cooking shows, they always have that one, what is your meal that you cook at home?
Yeah, but thinking about it though in more of a fast food perspective, obviously it's easier to access, right? If you're getting done from a long 10-hour, 12-hour shift, it's just easy to go through the drive-thru rather than spend an hour, prepping the food, cooking, doing the dishes, all that kind of stuff. And so, not only addicting, but is it also an ease of use thing? In your guys' own experience, what would you say?
Yeah, I'd say for sure, like going, like working and having to get lunch somewhere, I'll have to go through drive-thru, pick something up sometimes maybe.
Yeah.
But I know for some people it might become like a cycle, a part of their day, like, oh, I need to run too. Or who is it Warren Buffett that lives in Omaha? He stops at McDonald's like every morning.
Yeah.
That's his meal, and then So there's like people that live like a lifestyle that's have that in their cycle, I guess.
Do you think that's just America though? I mean, we're such an individualistic culture. As we were getting ready for this today, I was just thinking about, it's all just like the hustle, the bustle, fast as possible. That's what we want to do. We all want to make that money. We want to just live quickly, right? And we want to work, and honestly, we want ease of use. Right? And so you've seen a shift perhaps a little bit in America, and I think fast food definitely contributes to that a little bit. If you guys would say, what do you think is the best fast food place, and what do you think is the worst fast food place in terms of healthiness and things like that here in Columbus, Nebraska?
In terms of unhealthy, fast food, probably like any big, like McDonald's, Burger King, any of those like big.
Yeah.
I don't know. You can't really trust what they put in their stuff.
Well, this week we were watching a little bit of the Super Size Me video just to get a perspective. Obviously, there's some parts of that aren't exactly true, but yeah, when you start to really see all the ingredients that are within the chicken nugget, it does make you look at it a little bit differently, doesn't it? Sebastian, what do you think?
For healthy?
Yeah.
I think Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
Tropical Smoothie. And Tropical Smoothie just got here how many years ago?
Like one, I think.
One or two, yeah. It's really recent. So, what's your favorite meal to get from Tropical Cafe?
That chicken, like wrap or whatever it is.
Yeah, there you go. Do you get any smoothies there?
Yeah, with like peanut butter protein.
Right on. Very good. So, ultimately, in review, what makes fast food addicting? A lot of the sugars and stuff that they put in it. And ultimately, I think it's kind of, in America, we've taken on that comfort food ideology, which is really a good segue into our next question here, is what is the cause of obesity in America? Can we pin it all on fast food? That's the hard-hitting question today.
No, definitely not. It's just, so in order to gain weight, you have to eat more than you work off. So it's just the main thing of like, how much are you eating in a day? And a lot of people eat a surplus and they don't really go work out a lot. Mm-hmm. Especially like if you're an adult, it's kind of hard. Like we work a 9 to 5, you get home 6, 7 maybe. And then what are you gonna do? Go to the Y? Like it's kind of
Yeah, I get, and then in the vice versa, right? If you're trying to lose weight, it's all calories, right? That's what we're looking at here, and so you're gonna have to obviously consume less calories than what you're burning off. And we got to look at all of our BMIs this week, calculate what that would look like based upon the exercise that we do, how big we are, things like that. And so I thought that was really interesting to look at. Something I do want to share with those of you who are watching this here today: 70%. Just checked it this morning. 70% of Americans over 20 is this stat, are overweight or obese. What do you guys think about that number? Does that surprise you?
70 for what, 20 and up?
20 and older, yep.
Well, I think just because maybe a lot of those people are maybe around college too, and you can't really cook on your campus, or you gotta go out and like buy food, fast food, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I think it's a lot of like people as well, like need to take the responsibility of what they're putting into their body. And
How do we do that, Aiden? What do you think? How do we help people take that responsibility for what they're putting in their body?
I mean, a simple step is everybody has a phone. I mean, you can always look up the ingredients and how much you're eating, your calories, all that. I mean, it's all right there in your phone.
Do you think that's too time consuming?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, right.
Sometimes it is,
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Maybe sometimes you don't want to check like what you're eating because you don't want to ruin it. Or something.
There you go.
And also, I think it's a lot of the food that is being sold here and made in America as well, like fair foods, deep fried Oreos, like, dude, like, that's too much.
Yeah, well, and think about what we looked at this week. I mean, we took a geographic perspective where we looked at different places throughout the United States. And what are some things that we noticed from that chart that we saw?
The southern area is like higher in obesity because I don't know, their food is a lot more fattier, I guess.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yeah, and then it was interesting looking at like Colorado, California, Hawaii, some of the lowest rates of overweight and obesity in the entire United States. And we kind of, drug that out, looked at the different nuances. What are some things that we talked about? Why some states may have a little bit lower rate of obesity in America?
Well, I remember about California, where you talk about the influencers, and more in California they live more than the active lifestyle than where they would do in like the southern states, which I agree with that.
Yeah.
Like you always see like on Instagram or something like that, like these social medias, like influencers are always working out, always doing this. And I guess that does sound like a pretty high standard what the rest of the world should do.
Yeah, good. And I also I'm glad that you brought that up. I also think that the food choice too. I mean, Whole Foods is going to be a lot bigger out there if you ever had the chance to travel there. And in the middle United States and the southeastern part of the United States, it's maybe a little bit more fried, maybe even larger portions too, and things like that. And so it's just unique to look at those things there, but on a geographic standpoint. So ultimately, the causes of obesity, back to the original question, if you had to narrow it down to three main causes, one we've talked about, and I would assume that you guys would agree with this, probably your fast food choices. Okay, what would be the other two if you had to put it into a category for the causes of obesity in America? This is a tough question, I know.
I would say it's a place to like work out, cause like you go to like some cities and there's like not a lot of like workout areas.
Oh, okay, especially smaller communities. Yeah, I think that's a good point. Okay, so we got fast food, places to work out. One other one.
I'd say maybe if people have gone through some things, they might have some troubles with coping, and eating might be a way to cope out of their problems. So
Yeah.
I mean, there's issues like that people go through, and yeah, I mean that's another cause of obesity.
Yeah, and I think it's important to bring about mental health, and that was something that we discussed this week, were psychosocial issues and things like that, whether it be, anorexia, extreme obesity, bulimia, all those kind of things that we talked about. So I'm glad that you included that as well. Something that I always think about too, in regards to obesity and being overweight, is how many calories there are in liquids, right? We talked about a lot of different things this week, But, you know, just a pop, right? That's going to be 260 calories in some points. So think about really empty calories. Think about how many you're losing in terms of food that you could put in. You know, I just had a peanut butter and jelly for breakfast today. Guess what? That's about that many calories. I feel full right now. If I had a Mountain Dew, I'd probably be craving something, you know? So I think that's important to talk about there. All right, and then our final question is Ozempic, all right? We looked at this week TikTok, talking about Ozempic a lot. I know a lot of us in here probably have TikTok or something like that. So, what do you guys think about Ozempic? Tell me a little bit about it.
I mean, it's originally only for diabetic people now. Is it type 1 or does it matter?
It's going to be type 2. Well, they can kind of use it for both. I'm going to have them fact check that really quick out there, okay? Look that up. But, yeah, anyways, for people with diabetes.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean,
It's
I remember when my dad, so he's diabetic, I remember when
Just type 2. Thanks. Just type 2 there.
So he's type 2 diabetic. I remember he got it, and he's like, yeah, I'm losing weight. And like, that was like before the big old, like, Ozempic explosion.
Yeah.
So now that I see like everybody's popping Ozempic, I was like, ah.
With or without diabetes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
Yeah. It's like if they don't like the way they look, they might just pop Ozempic, slim down.
Yeah. Now, does your dad still use Ozempic?
I think he does.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so has he maintained, you know,
Yeah,
his weight loss and stuff?
his weight loss kind of calmed down because he figured out like diet wise he kind of balanced himself out.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's good.
Gotcha. Very good. You know, it's interesting. We looked at that, how it's mimicking your GLP-1 hormone and stuff like that, which is aimed at reducing cravings, making you feel fuller longer, you know, regulating that blood sugar. The concern with all of these things, though, is when you get off of Ozempic or, you know, anything else that we talked about this week. I think I used the testosterone as an example. When you get off of those things, what happens?
Your body can't produce it anymore because it already got a surplus of it. So it's like, why produce it if we already have all of this in the tank?
Yeah, and so what would we think would happen if a person were to get off of Ozempic? Yeah, yeah, probably gain it back and stuff like that. So it's interesting though, a lot of people are taking it. It's kind of what we would call, and I say this with air quotes, right, the quick fix thing.
Yeah.
Do you think that it's okay? Should people be allowed to do that if they want to? If they want to spend money on it, let them,
I mean,
right? Or do you
yeah.
think it poses more concerns than that? What do
I
you
feel
guys
like
think?
Definitely there should be a restriction on it because if anyone can just go out there and buy it, then it's like, why? It's like, it gets to a point where it's like kind of like a steroid. Like it got popular, people started using it. Like then we found out how dangerous it was.
Yeah.
So I'd say probably put a restriction on it.
Yeah. Do you? You know, I have a little bit of concern, and I know that there's supply and demand issues with it. What if like so many people are using this thing that it just kills the supply of it, and then we can't get it to the people that actually need it? Now I don't know if that's going to happen or not, right? I don't know how that works with the Ozempic supply chain, but that could be something that definitely is an issue. Now, Ozempic, the one thing, right, if we were to find a silver lining of it, is it does lower people's weight, which is going to in turn help their cardiovascular system.
Yeah.
So, is it a good thing or a bad thing, right? You know what I'm saying? And it's a very unique discussion. What do you guys think? Last thing.
I think if it can be used as like a catalyst to get people get their feet moving, like this is what we can do for you now.
And I mean, see themselves losing weight, see what they could be capable of, right? I think that's a good point.
If you use it as a catalyst, that'd be a lot better than just like, oh, my weekly Ozempic, whatever.
Mhm.
Like, however many times you need to take it, like, yeah, I don't know. They need to, for sure, needs to be a limit because it'll probably get unhealthy to the point where, I don't know, people are crazy. You know how they'll just start popping it. You know. It's not. Yeah, I don't think there's that much research done on it to be selling it like mass.
For commercial use, perhaps, right? Sebastian, last thoughts?
Yeah, definitely off that. Like, if you have a reason to start off like just do it like maybe once or twice. You can see like this is what I need to do to keep it down. Then yeah, but if you're doing it weekly or whatever, like for a long time, I don't think there's a point.
So you're saying when you start to maybe abuse it, that's when
Yeah.
it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you, gentlemen, for being a part of the show today and for bringing in your knowledge this week, talking about overweightness and obesity in America. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you next week on Fireside Fridays. Have a great day.